Temp check. What kind of summer are we having this year? A family road trip summer? A beach bum summer? Or a wake me up when the sun sets summer? With Instacart, choose your own adventure and skip the shopping side quests. Where available, you can get ice cream delivered to your hotel, sunscreen to the pool, or cold brew to your bed. Well, door, in as fast as 30 minutes. Wherever you find yourself this summer, you can get the goods. Download Instacart for free delivery on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum $10 per order. Excludes restaurants. Additional terms and fees apply.
This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. Why doesn't eHarmony allow copy and paste in first messages? Because you are unique, and your conversations should reflect that. eHarmony wants you to find someone who will get you. How are you going to know who gets you if people send you the same generic conversation starters they message everyone else? Conversations that actually help you get to know each other. Imagine that. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today.
Editaudio.
Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Hopkins, and this is Well Adjusting, where I talk to people about life stuff, but not in an NPR way. It's more like we're at the bar, having cocktails, getting into your business sort of way.
It's giving drunk NPR.
Oh, and producer Steph is here too.
Hello.
Today we chat, well, letting yourself dream big. Hey folks, look at us go. Here we are for another episode of Well Adjusting. And I don't know about you, but I think that deserves a big woo. So, woo. All right. Today we are joined by Brian. Brian's an actor, a writer, a filmmaker. He's an all-around amazing human who is just up to big things. But sometimes he makes himself feel small, right? He doesn't let himself dream big, or he puts all kinds of gates and restrictions around his future because what if he doesn't get the thing? I mean, who couldn't use a chat about trusting your instincts and trusting that you deserve big things? So here's Brian.
My name is Brian Wisenant. I was born in Mississippi. I'm an actor. I'm an outreach person. I'm a person in recovery. I'm a cat dad. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a lover. I'm a fighter. No, I'm not really those things. But yeah, that's who I am. The basics of scratching the surface of me.
Well, I love that. And then it's like what makes our next question is easier, because I do think who am I is always a hard question. So what, in a sentence or two, what is the reason that you came to us at Well Adjusting today? What are we talking about? What problem?
Yeah. Listening to the podcast brought me here, but specifically the topic that I really want to talk about, claiming what's mine, stepping into what's mine, the best of me.
Ooh, I love that. Okay, so I want you to tell me some more. I want you to tell me some more about the ways in which you don't step into you. Like, let's start there.
You know, someone said something to me yesterday that really blew my mind. My sponsor. Mm-hmm. He said that I have a tendency to punish myself. And that was something I had not thought about. And when it comes to stepping into what's mine, claiming what belongs to me, instead of embracing who I am and understanding what I'm worth, instead I'm one to think very small. Yeah. Well, I don't think small for other people. Like for all of you, I would think the most incredible, wonderful things can and should happen to you. But for me, I tend to think I don't deserve what the world has to offer me, whether that's money, job, the things I want as a filmmaker, as an actor. And then this idea of punishing myself, that really shook me to the core. Yeah. Because I do it. I really do punish myself.
You know, it's like that's so, because I have a feeling, obviously, like you talk about recovery, and I think I've been really open about my parents. My dad was like a functioning alcoholic, but whereas my mom was like just a hot mess. So I think that stuff is gonna come up, but I do think that the deserve conversation is like, I'm worthless. I'm, like, and can you trace that back at all? Because I do think sometimes people who have addiction, like it's just a hole from the get-go. Like it's just like there's like a little like, my addiction shows up in food. I could tell you shit I was doing, like weird shit with food when I was like 8. Like
Oh, yeah.
that's not like learned behavior. That's just a who I was. And then it's like I can work with it. So it's like for you, where did it, like, can you trace it back at all?
I trace it back to two things. One thing that came to mind is this relationship with money that my family has and had, and the fact that self-worth has always been tied into money. Lack of money, meaning I'm less than, having money, meaning I'm something, goes all the way back to my childhood. I remember, I have this memory of being, I think, 8 years old, and my parents, they'll love to hear this, I'm sure, were in their bedroom arguing over financial things. And I remember thinking, wow, we're less than, because that was what was instilled in me. That for sure. And then the other major thing is probably my sexuality, you know. I mean,
well, the world tells you, right? You're not, I mean, the word is normal or not normal. And like the LGBTQ folks have been considered not normal. We've been called not normal for many years. It's like atypical. Even that is, there's an implication that you're other.
for sure.
So it's like, that's like a messaging. And that's the most positive the messaging has been since I've been around.
Oh, for sure. And you know, I was thinking about, I watch the Golden Girls almost every night as like a palate cleanser. And I was thinking the other day about how, so I'm 47. I know I don't look it, but I am.
You do not.
Anyway, I watch this show and I think I didn't have real queer touchstones growing up. I remember looking at the Sears catalog at 12 years old at my cousin's house. And I remember when I made a crease in the men's underwear section and being like, uh-oh. I said, uh-oh, what is this? And then I'm like creasing into like the ladies' underwear section. I mean, I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. And that was my only real like understanding of like, oh, I'm not like everyone else, but I am. And then watching the Golden Girls, I was like, wow, I had no like I didn't even know what gay was because there was nothing for me. I mean, there was the one guy.
There's very little representation.
Very little. I mean, his name was Reese, and I grew up in Corinth, Mississippi, this teeny tiny town, and he was the gay guy. You know, he was the gay guy, and that was all I knew of. I think, to bring it back to your question, that othering and the lack of even a touchstone for what it meant to be queer, I mean, that has to have some, I mean, I couldn't even claim my identity, much less, you know.
No, you're saying it because it's like you started off by saying you live small, right? So like if the whole world is telling you not to be a thing, but you know you are that thing, what are you going to do? Hide. So it becomes second nature to hide a portion of who you are, to keep it small so you don't stand out, don't make yourself a target, don't make yourself, don't put yourself out there in any way. Because that could open people up to looking at you. Like my wife often talks about how, like she always says, like, I just knew I'd be divorced because I couldn't see my life as married. She was like, that's not like, she's like, I was never going to be like with a man. So she's just figured, oh, I'll be divorced. But she didn't look at herself. She doesn't look in the mirror. She doesn't. And it's all about, she calls being invisible her secret power. I can't think of anything more prominent that's going to make you want to not strive for things, not stand out, than having to be small.
Wow. I honestly don't think I've made that connection. So thanks. We can end the podcast now. It was perfect. Thank you. I hadn't really made that connection. And you also took me back talking about what your wife said about being divorced. I'm single. I've been single a really long time. That could be a whole other episode. But I remember being in college and I was out to friends, theater friends. I think all of my friends I was out to, but I certainly was not out to my family yet. This was the late 90s and Southern Mississippi, but probably the most progressive town in Mississippi, this university town. And I remember telling people and meaning it. Oh, I will never be in a relationship because my career is everything to me. And even being against gay marriage. Like, I remember, I don't talk about this a lot because it's not my proudest moment, but I remember being like, I don't even believe in gay marriage because like, it's just like something I couldn't even fathom. So why be for something or advocating for something that is a complete impossibility? And so that was how so that's something I saw as being small. Like, and it wasn't, wow, that's mind blowing. Wow, I can cancel my therapy.
I always say I'm like the worst gay in the world. Like, I would be the worst advocate because I never saw it either. Like, I didn't think we had no vision of it. But it's like that can become like an underlying thing. And I think it starts there. But I have to ask you, was it also like, were your parents big dreamers? Did you come from a family where everybody was like, you could be anything you want to be? Or was it just like, what was it that like?
That's a great question. From what I saw, no, they were not dreamers. But then again, my father did go to college, became a CPA in the Delta of Mississippi. So that he must have had that dream. And that's something I never thought about. He must have dreamed of that. My mother grew up very poor in the Delta. If I remember correctly, this is how it has come down to me. She grew up in a 2-room house with 12 brothers and sisters.
Jesus Christmas.
And so, like, if you saw my mom's life on a TV series, you'd probably like say, oh, that's too on the nose for the Delta of Mississippi. So my mom must have dreamed. I'm going to ask them when we're done with this. Maybe I should text them right now. Hey, Mom and Dad.
Hey, Los Angeles! Are you looking for unique 4th of July plans for you and your friends or family? LA's greatest rivalry returns to Rose Bowl Stadium for a July 4th edition of the El Tráfico soccer matchup as the LA Galaxy return to their original home to defend their turf against LAFC. Last year, a record crowd of over 82,000 fans were on hand to witness the Galaxy victory. That's July 4th at Rose Bowl Stadium. Guaranteed fireworks both on and off the field and a celebration for all of LA. LA Galaxy versus LAFC, the Rose Bowl edition. Tickets at lagalaxy.com/tickets.
Okay, it's time to commit. 2024 is the year for prioritizing yourself. Begin your new smile journey with Byte, and you could start seeing results in just 2 to 3 weeks. Just order your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95 at Byte.com. Byte clear liners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces, plus they offer financing options, accept eligible insurance, and you could pay with your HSA, FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
That's not just the sound of that first sip of Morning Joe. It's the sound of someone shopping for a car on Carvana from the comfort of home.
That's a good blend.
It's time to take it easy, like answering some easy questions to get pre-qualified for a car in minutes.
Talk about starting the morning right.
Just like customizing your terms so your car fits your budget. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to experience car shopping the way it should be. Convenient, comfortable.
I want to ask, we're talking about like this feeling of feeling small or this feeling of feeling othered and how that might make you feel small. But how is that showing up in your life now? Like, how are you seeing that impacting your day to day now? Like, is it in work? Is it relationships? Is it in your art? Is it in all of these places? You tell me.
Wow, it's all of them. I mean, I could go down the list. I mean, when it comes to work, I love my job. I have a great job. However, I'm in a position right now where, like, financial, I live in Los Angeles. I have debt. Ugh, I hate talking about that, which keeps me small.
You gotta, though. You gotta.
Exactly. And so when opportunities present themselves for growth, even at the job, like, for example, my manager, she called us a few weeks ago and she was like, I'm leaving the company. Never once did it cross my mind to step into her role, even though I've been there 3.5 years. I even was a manager way back in the day at Tribeca Film Festival. I have been that thing, but right now, it never crossed my mind to even ask for more where I work today.
Yeah.
When other places have reached out to me, I've been recruited by other companies. Even when, let's say they have a salary range, I would never ask for the top. Never. It was toward, a friend of mine said, "You asked for what?" I said, "Yeah, the range was this." And so I asked for 20,000 under.
25%.
We're talking a lot. And she was like, "What is wrong with you?" Which is also not very helpful because that's more shaming. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
But she did say, "Brian, if you could see your worth the way other people saw you, that is my great hope for you."
I imagine there's a lot, and I'm kind of going to ask the same question Steph asked, but in a different way. If you weren't living small, I'd love for you to give me 3 to 5, various areas in your life. And what would you be living into? What would it look like? If you can set those intentions, right? You can say that could be a year's worth of a roadmap. If you were to say, I want to be credit card debt free, that could be one. I want to have 4 acting credits this year. Those are things to live into. But I have to say this before I ask you to unleash you is I want you to take away but I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. No one is going to see me. If all things are possible in your universe, give me 3 to 5 things that you would like your life to look like that are big in a year from now.
The first one is I want to be free of debt. That is easy. And I will tell you in real time how that has already shifted for me. I hung out with my job, I do networking. And so I was hanging out with someone I feel very comfortable with and another friend. And I talked about the debt. I'd opened the door about the debt. And she suggested the exact thing you're saying. She said, "Why don't you start saying she said, I am free from debt. I free myself from debt. And so I started saying it. And I'm telling you, almost.
Yeah, my version of that is money is plentiful and it comes to me easily. That's my version.
That's
because mine's about abundance.
That's the squashing that it just came up. I was like, So I did start saying that. And that's when this newer opportunity came to me almost that day.
Isn't that interesting?
It's wild.
So give me 2 and 3, and let's start there.
Filmmaking and acting can be one. Or it can be 2.
Let's make it one.
So I made a short film called Wrath Mercy. It was my dream project for many, 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 many years. And it's done. It premiered. It's having its film festival run.
Woo!
I have this,
Congratulations.
Yay! Thank you. Which is huge. A lot of people don't even get that far, right?
They have the idea and then they never do anything.
Right. So I have this idea of a TV series, turning it into a TV series. I've almost finished the pitch. It's ready.
You've got the proof of concept in the short film.
Yeah. And squashing this voice in my head is very difficult right now. But I want to make that TV show. I want to make it. I want to show run it. I want to direct it. I want to run the writer's room. Now it's flowing. It feels good now that I've squashed it a little bit. I want to do that. I want to do it.
Okay. I love this.
So that's a big one. And then acting too. I want to act again. And that's very small.
Not small.
Maybe it's not. You're okay. Good. I'll listen to you.
Not small.
I want to act again. I want to make money acting again. What a concept.
Right? Or enjoy the process or be a part of it or take risks or, the thing about it, and I can say this as an actor, the thing about you, acting could be a playground for all of this being bigger. Trying on the suit of another character, of another person, just the act of jumping in without fear of what people think, of trusting your instincts. It is a playground for all the things that you struggle with. So that's not small. Because if you could go in and not make yourself small in a role and be like, I fucking did that. That's practice for coming home with your debt. And it may not seem like they're connected, but it is.
Wow. You know, I recently did sketch comedy again. I've been doing not again, for the first time. And my friend at the gym, my friend Tony was I'm the man on the roof. And I guess she's all the people coming by because she's kept saying, you'd be great for our sketch comedy show. You'd be so great. I'm like, I don't do sketch comedy. Gosh, I wish I could act again. And then it kept coming up. And then finally, like, they had someone back out. And the part of me who is the part of me that maybe people pleasing, but I think it's helping people. They were like, we're desperate. And I said, fine, I'll do it.
Isn't that motherfucking interesting that you could only say yes for someone else? Brian. Like, that's like, what an interesting thing. Like, what if you could say yes for you? Like, to play, to try, to like just jump in and see what happens. Because it's like, I don't know, like, I just have this vision of you in your lovely apartment, like plotting and planning and saying no.
Yeah.
And then what happens when you say yes? What new plans could come? Like, it's like, I'm a very firm believer that life's not linear. It's in like 5 or 6 or 7 dimensions, like many dimensions we can't see. And you can move over here, and then that opens up something over here. And it's not like if I do this step, it's not like if I'm an assistant, I then become a coordinator and then I become a manager. It's not like that. You can be an assistant over here and then all of a sudden be polishing rocks. And they're in no way connected, but this led you to that. And what could show up in your life if you started saying yes to you, not helping other people?
Probably everything I could ever dream of and more. That's what might show up for me if
probably
I started
some bad
yes.
shit too, but all things are possible. And even the bad shit will move you to the next thing.
Exactly. Even the job I have now at Breathe, when I took that job, there was a part of me that said, okay, I'm committing to this job. My filmmaking, acting dreams are going over here to the back burner. And yet, Breathe, my job, helped fund my movie, screen my movie, because it's about a crystal meth addict. And that's one of the things we do at Breathe is help treat crystal meth addicts. And so I said yes. And despite my best effort, my film still happened. So I have proof already.
Yeah, you do. There is like I'm highlighting this for you because there is this thread. There's this thread and you know it. You already know it. You're already aware, and that's wonderful. These are just reframes and adjustments that you need to make. Like, it all already lives in here inside you. It's already there. When you say no, you need like a moment where you stop and go, why am I saying no? Am I saying no to me? Am I saying no to someone else? Like, you need to break the cycle so that you can start to reframe.
I do. And what's interesting is I feel like my recovery gives me this. I think eventually I get there, but wow, what would it be like if it didn't take me 5 years to get there?
I'm only going to say that differently because I think that's mean to you. Like,
there I go again.
Like, I just want to say that in a more positive way. Like more like I'm working on this and it's going to come to me faster versus like in what you said, there's an ice suck. It takes me 5 years. And it's like some people don't ever get there. So like you're already 5 years ahead of a lot of people. But it's that's like true. Just for to bring them more joy, you want to be able to trim that reaction time down. Like I look at it like there are certain things that are hardwired with me. Like I think my anger sometimes, like self-doubt, those are like hardwired, right? I can't make that go away, but I can minimize the time in which I do it and then what can come in that place. What joy can come in, what peace could come in. I don't know. I just wanted to, but I want to take it back to Steph had a thought and then you and I did a thing. And I want to see if she still has that thought if we didn't get rid of it.
Well, the thought was similar to what you said, which is like stopping and understanding why you're saying the no. And my question was, because I think I have kind of similar problems. I'm really bad at visioning and I'm trying to get better on it. And it's taken me a while. I literally like have a hired person that is hired to help me vision. Like that is like where I'm at with this process. And I guess when you were talking about this comedy example, when you said no to doing that, was it because, like, if you can think back on it now, was it because you felt comfortable saying yes because you were helping them? Or was the like fear of failure sort of like deleted because you were just stepping in last minute and you were like doing this thing?
That's really great. I will say I have found myself even asking the universe for vision because I'm right there with you in regard to vision. I think part of the reason I said no was because I kept saying, I don't do sketch comedy. I don't do sketch comedy. But one thing I do is help others when they need it. And it never crossed my mind that that could include helping myself.
Yeah.
Never crossed my mind. But when they asked me to step in, I did have fear of failure. I even remember right before we went on thinking, what if I'm not funny? What if I'm not funny? And then there were moments where people didn't laugh. And guess what? I didn't die.
You didn't die.
I didn't die. So this fear of failure, fear of rejection from the audience. And they were with me. I mean, afterwards, my friends who were there were so supportive. And they even said, I said, why didn't you laugh at blah, 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 blah? They're like, we were chuckling. I said, chuckling.
You're like, I was expecting more.
Yeah, we're not friends because of chuckling. We're friends because you're peeing pants laughing.
That's right. And so that did prove to me that the fear of failure, I mean, I guess in a sense, I didn't get what I wanted. So maybe, is that a failure? I don't know. But the point is I survived and I did it again.
And you grew.
I grew. Yeah.
My follow-up question, and then we have to get to number 3, because so far we have 1 and 2, is would you, if you were asked tomorrow to do a stand-up comedy with a different group of people, would you do it again?
I'm going to say yes.
Yes, you are.
But I've recently said no, and I think I'm going to reach out when we're done and say yes. I have a friend who's known me for a very long time who does open mic night. But it even, like, I've never seen myself as a stand-up comic, but one of the things that they do, there I said it again, is storytelling. And I know I can tell stories, and I know I can be funny telling stories.
You could do moths. There's so many things you could do.
So I've said no. And I even have friends, like, I don't know if y'all know Annie Corzin. This is a whole wild thing. Like, she and I have become friends because of TikTok. She has done the moth. I could say, hey, could you give me that email? And I know she would do it.
Yeah.
I know she would do it. So yeah, if someone asks me, I'm going to say yes. And I'm even going to retcon, is retcon the right word? Take my TARDIS, go back in time. And I'm going to reach out to my friend and say, hey, when's the next open mic night? Okay.
I love that. Okay, great. Give us a third area, and then we're going to go into homework.
Let's just go with relationships. Now, I don't even know what I'm going to say here. I have been single for a very long time, over a decade. And the last time I really went on dates was when I was living in Mississippi, which was 5 years ago. I don't even know that I want to be in a relationship. I think what I would like to live into is the knowledge of whether or not I want to be in a relationship.
I was just going to say, you could commit to exploring it and seeing what you want in this area. It doesn't have to be a done thing.
I am very comfortable in chaos and in uncertainty and the concept of having knowledge of what I want. There's a part of me, and maybe it's related to being small, that thinks that the chaos, the discomfort is the norm.
Mm.
And so that is something to live into.
Yeah. Hi, friends. Okay, if you love the show, and I mean, I think you do because you're listening, right? Okay, let's be real. Well, then I want to let you know about another show that is in the editaudio network that you should add to your listening queue. It is called Rebound Revolution. Oh my God, I love it so much. First of all, it's hosted by my friend, my pal, Dr. Money McEachern, and it's a women's basketball podcast that is as much about queer feminism, fashion, and social justice as it is about what happens on the court. And even if you have, like, let's just say 0 idea about basketball, that's okay. Dr. Money is here to be your guide. There's even a segment that is dedicated to giving you the lingo to help you the next time that you have to, pretend to know something about basketball at a social event. What more could you ask for? So here's what I got to say to you folks. Listen and follow Rebound Revolution wherever you get your podcasts. You will not regret it.
Explore the endless bounds of space with all new LEGO building sets. From engineering wonders like LEGO Technic NASA Apollo Lunar Roving Vehicle to astronaut dog walkers, there is a perfect LEGO set for everyone on Earth. First launched in 1978, space sets have been igniting people's curiosity through the ultimate creative medium of LEGO bricks. Their newest collection is sure to propel the wonder for exploration and adventure across the galaxies. Be inspired by LEGO sets that are out of this world. Visit Amazon.com/LEGO Space to see the full collection.
That's not just the sound of that first sip of Morning Joe. It's the sound of someone shopping for a car on Carvana from the comfort of home.
That's a good blend.
It's time to take it easy, like answering some easy questions to get pre-qualified for a car in minutes.
Talk about starting the morning right.
Just like customizing your terms so your car fits your budget. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to experience car shopping the way it should be. Convenient, comfortable.
I have 2 things that I'd love for you to consider doing, okay?
I love homework.
Right? It's the best. I love it. Give me a direction. Point me somewhere. But there's 2 things that I think they would work well together and they would be really super helpful for you. And one is, I call it, mine is the Great Robin sheet. It's the Great Robin 1 sheet. I want the Great Brian 1 sheet. And on it, I'd love to see sections of accomplishments because of the small thinking. Like even the way you listed out what you did with that film. You didn't think you could make it. It was just an idea, but then you did make it. Then you got it screened. Now it's in festivals. Accomplishment, accomplishment, accomplishment. So I want you to do, if you're open to it, a sheet of accomplishments in these 3 areas that you are thinking about, right? So the areas of money, of relationship, and of your career. I think starting with your wins is a great place for visioning, okay? Because it's like you're not starting off feeling like shit about yourself. So that's 1. Then on the other side, second document, page 2, doesn't matter. However you like to format your own docs. Should it be color-coded? Damn yes, it should be. Should you have special fonts? Yes.
I love it.
But I'd love to see a 1-year plan. A 1-year plan that's like 1 year from now, I am here. You don't have to use these 3 areas. It's just what we use to start this discussion because you might leave here and be like, I said my debt, but I really feel like I've got a handle on that. I know what I have to do and me being positive, I'm going to do it. But just pick a couple of areas of and it's going to require some visioning. It's going to require you sitting with what would make me feel joyful a year from now? What would make me feel accomplished? Like just giving yourself words. What would make me feel at peace? What would make me feel excited? And just free-forming that and letting that conversation, letting that visioning bring you to some points of because I think if you just start with I want 3 films, then you're just jumping over. Don't jump over. Be in the feelings of what would it feel like? What would my life look like? And continuing to kind of just add to it. Then you can go, okay, well, what would it take to get that? If it's a new apartment, well, then I'm going to need money. If my career looks like this, well, then I'm going to need to set some career goals. So there's a visioning piece and then setting some targeted goals that would help you achieve that.
Wow.
The reason I want you to do it over time is because that voice is that voice that keeps you small, that little voice that's you're not good enough. You can't do that, Brian. You've tried this. It didn't work. You're not going to be able to keep this up. That voice that says all those really mean things is going to pop up. So if for a week or 2 you woke up and for 10 minutes you had a page that you just kept adding to, and you're going to get to a point where you feel like, oh, I'm done. And then you're like, keep writing. So you could just getting as much detail, use your like your creative brain, your writer brain to like fill in the like, I'm talking like, what does the wallpaper look like? What is the, like, do you vacation often? Like all that shit, and then create some goals out of it. And it's just the doing will shift you.
Wow. The targeted goals, that's like unbelievable. When it comes to like visioning and manifesting, I think I've always left out the targeted goals. Thank you. Thank you for that, because that's something very tangible. I was just going to say that I think I have to continue to work on trusting myself, and I'm going to.
Yeah. And you've got some things that you can do now. You've got support around you. Like I say to many people, you reached out to us. That is a sign that you're in a place and that you want to do this. And I, for one, cannot wait to watch your TV series. I cannot wait to see wherever you end up on this relationship thing. There is no right or wrong answer. I can't wait to see you in your new gig. I can't wait to see all of this. And I have all the faith in the world in you. I do. I do. You're so open. There's no way you're not going to do amazing things or continue. Even I fucking just did it. Continue to do amazing things.
Thank you.
And I'm going to say, Robin trusts you. And I'm going to say, think of how many people every day trust you to help them. So obviously a lot of people trust you. And I think if you can see that, you'll find more ways to trust in yourself.
I see it. I see it. And I'm going to continue to try.
That's it.
That's it. I think you're like our most receptive guest we've ever had. Thank you, Brian.
I really do. There's so many parallels, even that you're at Breathe and I'm at Headspace. It's like, there's so many, you talk Sears catalog. I was like, I could talk to this guy for 7,000 years. So I just appreciate you coming on. This has been so lovely.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I'm honored. And I think I was ready. I was ready to have this conversation. Yeah.
Okay. All right. As soon as we stopped recording, Steph and I immediately talked about how much we love Brian, because obviously, but then we, of course, pivoted to the great You one sheet. And before we even jumped off the call, I sent Steph mine as inspo. And so she could set one up for herself. And I did own up to the fact that I have not looked at mine since I set it up in January, which is like, oops. So Steph, first question, how did you find the process of doing the Great Steph plan?
Okay, first of all, loved seeing yours. Hated the font choices that you decided
by the way,
on.
I noticed that you immediately changed the fonts. I was like, that is amazing.
I can't look at like colored fonts and it just like makes me stressed out.
How do you see without the red? How do you see the notes without the color changes? All right,
I put in like little emojis and stuff. It's very organized. You'll love it.
Okay.
Maybe I'll make some like check boxes or something. But I found doing it like kind of, well, first of all, I like avoided it for a while.
Of course.
I'll get to that eventually. And then I never did.
By the way, you are proving why a hard deadline is helpful, because we had to record this, so you had to have it done.
Yeah, I love a deadline, but it was so hard, and I'm still not finished it, but I am finished my year. So the thing about the Great Robin plan or the Great You plan or the Great Plan is that you have 5 years, and
Well, you don't have to have 5 years. I've added 5 years because I was like, I had an ultimate goal, like a milestone I wanted to hit. So I was like, all right, well, then I got to back it out 5 years. But I do think it's nice to have.
Yeah. I mean, something I am like consistently working on is like having goals and like dreams. So I think it's helpful for me to have 5 years. I just don't know if I'm like, I think I have to like bring this to my therapist to get years 2 through 5, which I will do. Like, see me next week. We can check back in. But I did finish my 1 year goal, and I finished it without reading the script that we did for the top of this episode. But my word for the year is dream.
Shut up. I love that.
Which you also started the interview with. You said, well, today's chat is, well, letting yourself dream big.
Well, that's the thing. I think in some ways the plan can feel like you are, like getting all anal retentive with your future. But the idea of it isn't to lock yourself in. Like, it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to do every one of those things, but it gives you some like just like targets. Like if you ever golf, you may not always be able to see the hole that you're going for, and that's going to sound dirty, but you can see your first benchmark that you want to hit. Like if it's a dog leg, you see how far down the fairway before you make your left turn. And I think that the plan is, I know, I got so
What's a dog leg?
Oh my God, I just got lesbian sporty like out the wazoo. Look it up, Steph, dog leg.
I thought you said squirty.
I did not get squirty. I got sporty, Steph. Sporty.
The first step in the long-term goal. I mean, I don't know what a dog leg is, but I do know that you usually hit the ball a few times before it goes into the hole, right? Right?
Yes. Most people do hit the ball a few times before
Yes.
it goes into the hole, Steph. Yes,
Yes.
that is true.
Golf by Steph. But I think what's cool is like the way you segmented it was so helpful. So like the Great Robin Plan has like, year 1 goal, year 2, year 3, year 4, whatever. And then you get into the specific year and you had like a word for the year. You had a description of what that looked like, what you wanted to learn, what you could, what did it say?
I had buckets is what I like to call
you had
them.
different buckets.
Yeah.
And yours were like creative. What were your buckets?
I had like creative buckets, wellness, and this tells you I haven't looked at it since January, but I have to look at it tomorrow because I'm doing for my Substack, I'm doing a quarterly update with someone, which that's another good thing to have as an accountability partner with your plan so that you don't just like do it in January and never look again.
Oh my God, should we be accountability buddies?
Yes. We're going to check in next quarter with it.
Okay.
But one thing that I didn't mention is that for me, I keep an archive, right? So at the end of the year, I just title it archive and then I shift it down and then start my new year. And what I found was really interesting this year was it gave me an opportunity to look back at last year and like I marked like, oh, I kind of hit this goal, or, oh, I created a new and different goal, like something shifted, or, oh crap, I'd like to bring that back for this year. I lost that one. But my thinking is like, if you set this goal and you get 65% toward that goal, that's 100% better than if you didn't work toward it at all. You'd have nothing. So it's like, I'm getting very mathy and very sporty. I know. But I don't know. I do think that the other learning is that check-ins are important.
Well, and it's cool that you're making it this like continuation, like it's not, oh, I got 60% of the way and so I'm 40% a failure. It's I got 60% of the way and the extra 40% I can move into year 2.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like awesome. I love that.
And the check-ins are great moments to refine. And, like I think one year I had I want to book 2 procedural TV shows in New York City. Well, I didn't do that. That did not happen. But I booked 2 amazing commercials. And I was like, okay, then. It was something different, but I was moving my energy in that way. And then something different showed up. So it's it's kind of being open and being fluid with it. It's like I never want anyone to approach it with rigidity because I think that's a recipe for disaster.
I think you could sell this, honestly. I love doing it.
Well, listen.
Piece of homework.
I want to say this. If anybody wants a great you plan, just reach out to us at hello@editaudio.io. Did I do it right, Steph?
You did it right. hello@editaudio.
And we will give you a copy of the Great You Plan. And then you can customize it, make it your own. I don't know. I feel like everybody should be doing spreadsheets.
Robin's fonts.
Oh my God. I was like Arial. It was a very basic font.
So many colors.
Well, I am a color coder. I do like that. There's something about it makes it feel jaunty to me. I kind of like it. All right. Listen, everybody, we have to accomplish some goals. So before we go,
much to do.
I want to thank Brian for sharing his story and for simultaneously inspiring both me and producer Steph. And also, Brian, if you are listening, and I hope you are, you get the award for the most receptive guest. So again, second woo of the show, woo. And if you all want to see the trailer for Brian's short film, hit the show notes, folks. For more Robin, and you may need that, you probably don't need it, but if you do, you can follow me at Real Rob Hops on all the platforms, all the socials, as the kids today say. Well Adjusting is an editaudio original series. It's exec produced by Steph Colburn and Robin Hopkins. Our producer is Maria Passingham, and our production manager is Kathleen Specker. This episode was edited by Megan Hayward. Thank you to the entire editaudio team and to you for listening. Oh, hey, before you take out those AirPods, this show is just for entertainment. If you are in need of help, please, please, please reach out to a professional. Go ahead and get that help. You deserve it.